Alright guys, so today's video is going to be a little bit different than what we normally do. I usually stick to more video game stuff, but today we're just going to be focusing in on VCRs. I know this might be a little off topic, but it's something that I've actually gotten kind of into recently, picking up VCRs, trying to clean them and get them all ready for resale. So I came upon a few bits of information that I thought was useful, so I'm kind of doing what I would normally do, and that's share it with you guys, just in case anybody else has any questions about it. So first things first, we have a Panasonic. It's a 4-head VHS, VCR. I got it from a thrift store, so I need to clean it up. I already cleaned the outside. I'm actually gonna go ahead and clean the heads on this guy. So we're gonna pop the case open, we're gonna get it undone, and then I'm gonna show you how to properly clean the heads, as well as interior wise. We're gonna do some cleaning. So let's go ahead and get into it. It's kind of hard because it's not going to show too well on camera because it's such a bright silver. But let me pop off the top here and then we'll get into it. All right, so we got the top off here. It's really, really simple. There's 2 screws on the side, and then there's 3 screws in the back, and then pops right off. Most VCRs are going to be about exactly the same way. They're going to have the screws on the side and then some on the back, and then the lids actually just pop straight up off of them. So this one's a really basic one. I think this version is from 2005, 2002, somewhere around there. But it's a Panasonic. It's super simple because it's super compact. And so your main reader here is going to be the video heads on this guy, your main mechanisms. It's hard. Take it from somebody who... I grew up with VHS players. I grew up with cassette tapes and all that before DVDs. And I had never popped one of these open, nor have I really learned the electronics or any of the gearing or any of that kind of stuff. After going through a bunch of them, they're all a little bit different in how they work. And these gear systems can actually be kind of complicated if something does go wrong on them. So with that said, I'm not an expert in this. I'm just going to show you some basic stuff on maintenance here. One thing that I did want to point out, and if you already knew this, forgive me, but I was kind of a naive about it. I didn't really know too much, but I didn't realize, and I learned this from a recent video. I'll try to post a link to the video that I watched, but I didn't realize is first off, you don't want to touch any of the bare stuff with your hands. One thing I didn't realize is that I was assuming when they're talking about heads on a VCR, it's this whole cylinder right here. This is not the heads at all. The heads are actually in these little spots right here, this little gap right here in the black. Right there. And so there's so many on the actual cylinder here, and that's what actually reads the videotape. So when I first started doing this, when I was cleaning the heads, I was actually cleaning the drum more than anything, and I wasn't really getting onto cleaning the actual heads. And I would run into issues where I would think I would cleaned it, I would retest, and then the tape still wouldn't play correctly. And that was my issue, is I wasn't actually cleaning the part that needed to be cleaned. I was cleaning the cylinder itself. Now, you still don't want to touch the cylinder, and you definitely don't want to touch those heads. But I am going to show you how to clean them. You'll want to get a clean white piece of paper. This is the simplest and easiest way to do it. Rubbing alcohol or IPA. You really want to stick like in the 90s, 91 to 99. I know COVID going on, it is insanely hard to get a hold of 99%. So I actually have 91 here. It's going to work exactly the same. You're just going to have to leave it some time to burn off the rest of it. So basically what you're going to do, let's see how I can show you. Take your piece of paper here. Take your piece of paper, and then I'm just going to coat it just a little bit until it's nice and coated. All right, like I said, you don't want to touch the actual cylinder. You're just going to want to put this against. You can apply just a little bit of pressure, and then you're just going to spin this guy. You're not going to move the paper up and down. You're not going to do anything else. You're just going to spin it. And you can tell I'm being super gentle with it. I basically treat this as a laser. Same thing with lasers. When you're cleaning lasers, you don't want to move too much. You just want to stay put. Just get it nice and cleaned. All right. And you can see a little bit of stuff that came off there. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bit of brown stuff. And then from here, you can actually rotate it and do it a few more times. Get settled. Get settled, and then spin again. The one thing you definitely don't want to do is use cotton swabs. The heads on these VCRs are really, really delicate, and what you'll end up probably doing if you use a cotton swab is you're going to get one of those fibers on, and there's a potential to break off the end of it, and then from there your head's basically useless. It's just going to be a pile of junk unless you end up swapping off the heads, and they're so cheap, VCRs, that you'll end up just tossing it away, which is really a big bummer. But yeah, so here we are. Now all these are cleaned. And good to go. For the rest of this, you can actually use a cotton swab. So that's what I'm going to do next. Just a little bit of IPA on the end here. And then you can kind of just wipe down everything. Just make sure all the gunk's off. These are all the parts that are going to touch the tape. And actually, everything looks pretty decent. There's nothing really too dirty. It's not dusty inside. And if it wasn't implied before, don't do this while it's plugged in. You want to make sure that it's actually unplugged still. So, all right, let's go ahead and test and just make sure we didn't screw anything up. It's a VHS tape, so there's still going to be a little bit of graininess to it. It's still not going to look 100% clear as opposed to like a DVD player or even a Blu-ray player. But yeah, everything looks to be functioning normally. I'm just going to put the case back on it, clean up the outside just a little bit more, and it should be good to go. I really hope this helps anybody out there who's looking to fix these up, clean them up like I did. It's really funny how long it took me to realize how or which part was the actual head and which wasn't, because I've run into VHS players where there's scratches on the actual cylinder, and I always thought, man, well, that's the heads are bad now, so I won't be able to do it. I recently got back into those ones and actually cleaned the head, and then realized that no, it wasn't the cylinder, although it had a little bit of damage, wasn't causing any issues with the player itself. So once you clean it, it usually opens up and gets you a nice picture, or as good of a picture as a VHS player can. So well, cool guys, I hope this video helped. I know it's a little short and a little off topic from what we normally do, but I just wanted to share some information and knowledge that I just learned. So catch you guys later.